Thank you, Dr. Munjal. And Tiger, the announcement about the prize purse, what does that mean for the tournament?
Well, the increase in prize purse just elevates this event. Attracts the top players in the world with the event here at Albany and what we've done here throughout the years. And the feedback we've gotten, we've tried to make this event special at the end of the year. These guys have been playing a lot, and we want to make this the most enjoyable week and get them down here and have a great time. And I think that with Hero's involvement in this event has elevated the event, and we're excited to continue that relationship through 2025.
And as far as the competition, obviously making your first start since the Masters, how does the game feel coming into this week?
Well, yeah, my game feels rusty. I haven't played in a while, and so I have my sub-tailor fused, and so I'm excited to compete and play, and I'm just as curious as all of you are to see what happens, because I haven't done it in a while. And I can tell you this, that I don't have any of the pain that I had at Augusta or pre that in my ankle. Now, well, other parts are taking the brunt of the load, so I'm a little bit more sore in other areas, but the ankle's good. So that surgery was a success.
All right, we'll take some questions out here. If you have a question, we'll get a microphone to you. We'll start with Mark right here in the front.
Tiger, when did you decide that you were going to be able to play? What's the build-up been like? And you mentioned not having the pain that you had at Augusta. Mm-hmm. Will it be the same pre-round routine and post-round routines that you were going through?
As far as the commitment to playing, probably after I caddied with Charlie and was able to recover each and every day like that. People don't realize I was still lifting and still doing a bunch of other things too alongside of that. So in conjunction with that and the endurance part of it, all my beach walks at home, just the accumulation of how can I recover? Can I keep progressing at the same time, right? And I was hitting golf balls a lot, trying to get Charlie ready for the event, and then post-event, I started feeling, you know what, I can probably do this, and so why not? I talked to the committee, and a committee of one was able to give me a spot.
Go to Steve in front.
Tiger, how concerned are you walking 90 holes?
Steve, I'm not concerned at all about walking it. It's more as I said, I don't have any of the ankle pain that I had, with the hardware that's been placed in my foot. That's all gone, but it's the other parts of my body. My knee hurts, my back. The forces go somewhere else. Just like when I had my back fused, the forces got to go somewhere. So it's up the chain. So as I said, I'm just as curious as with all of you, what's going to happen. I haven't done this in a while.
Rex on the left.
Tiger, I'm sorry to kind of go back, but we haven't really spoken with you. What was your reaction to the June 6th framework announcement?
Well, going back to that, I would say that my reaction was surprised. Just like I'm sure a lot of the players were taken back by it, what had happened. And so quickly and without any input or any kind of information about it. And it was just thrown out there. And I was very surprised that the process was what it was. And we were very frustrated what happened. And we took steps going forward to ensure that the player involvement was not going to have, we were not going to be left out of the process like we were. And so part of that process was putting me onto the board and accepting that position.
As part of the board, are you pleased now with the direction of the tour since you're part of the decision-making process?
I'm pleased at the process and how it's evolved. Also frustrated in some of the slowness and the governance change that we want to have happen. And December 31st is coming up very quickly. And so there's the timetable there that we would like to implement some of these changes that have not taken place. The guys, all the player directors have spent so many hours and have worked tireless hours to make sure that we have the best deal for all the players that are involved and all the entire PGA Tour.
Bob?
Tiger, if I could just go back to your own health real quick. Obviously, that surgery, quality of life issues is probably much better now.
Yes.
But I'm just curious will that surgery help your golf in the long run, or does it present more challenges even, given what you had done?
I would say that the procedures I've had done, post the last couple of years, I've had a number of them, and at some point in time, I was going to have to get my ankle replaced or fused, and that timetable was sped up. They weren't expecting me to put as many forces into that ankle as when I hit drivers, and so I think the doctors were surprised by that, and the ankle just went and it was bone on bone, and that's why you saw me, in limping and not feeling very good. And the only way to fix that was either to get it replaced or fused, and we chose the fusion, the subtalar fusion, and put hardware in there. And hey, the process, the next part's the hard part. It's the 6 months of doing nothing. That's the hard part, and then the first couple of months were really rough. But unfortunately, I've had the experience. I've gone through it before, and I'm here on the good side now.
Go to Todd.
Hey, Tiger. You mentioned that the deadline is coming up. From your perspective, how optimistic do you feel like this agreement could come together before the deadline?
Well, I think all the parties are talking, and we're aggressively working on trying to get a deal done, and we're all trying to make sure that the process is better too as well. And so the implementation of governance is one of the main topics, as long as getting the deal done, but make sure that's done the right way.
Go to Ewan and then Swami.
Tiger, does this deal need to happen in your mind, or does the deal have to happen, or would an alternative, a plan B, a different deal, make sense as well?
We have multiple options, but still, we would like to have a deal done December 31st. I mean, that's what the agreement said, this summer, and all parties understand that. But there are other options out there.
And you touched on governance changes. Could you give a sample of what you think has to change?
Yeah, well, as long as the player has input and we're able to make faster decisions, and the board recognizes that, and I think that is one of the key things that all the player directors have really focused on. And I think the entire board has been very acceptant of that, and we would just like to make the process faster.
Swami?
Tiger,
Yeah.
painless, that word sounds so good, I mean, it's finally back in your lexicon. You're feeling no pain. You're painless now. The prospect of playing 90 holes. Time and again, you actually come back home. The Hero World Challenge is your own tournament, benefits your foundation. What is it about this tournament that you choose this as your comeback platform so often?
Well, I think the timing of the event, with the injuries that I've had, and I think just the way the event has been with a smaller field size, and the fact that it's at the end of the year, which sets me up for expectations going into the following year. So it's a nice landing spot, and also a great springboard into the following year. And my foundation benefits from it. So there's so many positives that come about because of my ability to be able to play in the event. And so I've found this as a nice little spot to kind of turn the page and move on to the next chapter or the next year. And hopefully this will be a positive step into next year.
We'll go to Dylan, Paul, and then Brody. So, no idea of the mic. Sorry.
Where are we at?
We're going to Dylan
Okay.
on the aisle right here.
Yeah.
Tiger, do you have a sense of what the professional golf landscape will look like in a year or 2 years, or does it feel as murky to you on the inside of the process as it does to us on the outside?
To answer that question, I would say that the answer is murky. I would have to say that there's quite a bit of options out there. There's a lot of moving parts and how we could play, whether it's here on the PGA Tour or emerging or it's team golf. There's a lot of different aspects that are being thrown out there all at once, and we're trying to figure all that out and what is the best solution for all parties and best solution for all the players that are involved.
Paul?
Tiger, with Joey caddying full time for Patrick now, who do you plan to have caddying this week and moving forward for you?
Well, I got robbed this week. He's seen me hit a few shots. As far as next year, I don't know yet. I don't think Charlie's going to be able to caddy. Can't play hooky that often, so I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. I was just looking forward to this week and see how things turned out. I'm curious to see what 72 holes looks like on the body and my game, and then try and set a schedule going forward into next year.
And then just on the TGL, obviously it gets pushed back a year. You're obviously a big part of that. Just your thoughts on how that affects the league and just moving forward, your view on the TGL.
Well, I think it was moving very quickly, and I think we can take advantage of time delay, and I think that we can do it right. And I think all the parties that are involved really feel that this is going to be the best thing for it. There's so many partners and so many people that are involved in this league that have had so much brand experience, and they want to get it right, and they have gotten it right. They're billionaires, and so I think that if we're able to capture that, I think going into 25, I think that it'll be positive for all of us.
Brody in the back.
Whether it be sharing knowledge with younger players about Augusta or TGL or now taking the tour board, how much have you kind of mentally taken on like that role of being a senior presence in the game of golf right now?
Well, don't say senior. I'm not there yet.
Fair. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I got a couple more years. But honestly, that part of the transition is I think it's a natural progression that golfers have. When you come out in your 20s, you're young and you're impressionable, and you ask questions. And then as you get a little bit older, you have your little run, and then towards the end, you want to pass on all that knowledge to others. That's how the game of golf has grown. That's what we have all learned from. And I didn't discover any of this stuff. This is all stuff I've asked players throughout the years, and I've gotten so much of my direction from asking questions. And I've had some of the best players of all time. Unfortunately, a lot of them aren't here, but just to be able to pick their brains, I think that's what the game of golf is all about.
Do you enjoy the part of being on the board and in those kind of meetings?
Well, I enjoy the fact that I'm able to make an impact differently than just hitting a golf ball. I made an impact on the PGA Tour for a number of years, hitting a golf ball and doing that. I can have a lasting impact by doing what I'm doing, by being on the board and being a part of the future of the PGA Tour.
Dave in the second row.
Tiger, hello. How are you? You've made a couple of mentions of potentially looking ahead to next year. In a best-case scenario, what would a schedule for you look like next year?
I think that best scenario would be maybe a tournament a month. I think that's realistic. Whether that's you would have to start with maybe like a Genesis, and then something in March, maybe the players. And again, we have set up right now on the calendar the biggest events are one per month. So it sets itself up for that. Now, I need to get myself ready for all of that, and I think this week is a big step in that direction.
I'm going to take you I'm going to take you way back. It'll be 25 years ago, 99 season, when you really kind of took off. Won your second major at the PGA. and then off you went. 3 out of 4 majors in 2000, et cetera. Just wonder your thoughts looking back on that. I mean, does it feel like 25 years? And it's just the whole.
My body will tell you it feels a lot longer than 25 years. But looking back on that year, I think what people miss on that year, and that's something I don't miss, is that I won 8 times that year.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good year. And I know that you saw the PGA and at Medina, but the entire year was a big step in the right direction because of what I had just undertaken in 97. Redoing my golf swing, 98 wasn't all that great, making steps in the right direction. And then, right before the Byron Nelson in 99, things just hit. And I went on a nice run for a few years.
Go up front here to Mark. Dave, if you could pass the mic forward.
Tiger, Jay Monahan's taken a lot of heat since June 6th. What's your assessment of the job he's done since then? And secondly, you mentioned the team golf aspect of it. What is your opinion on team golf's place in the future ecosystem?
I think Jay has been a part of the direction. He understands that what happened prior to that can't happen again, and it won't happen again. Not with the players that are involved, and not with the player directors having the role that we have. Now, as far as team golf, I think there's a way that in which we can all benefit from team golf. It's just how do we do it, and we're trying to figure out that process now, and we've been doing it for months, trying to figure out how that all works. What does that landscape even look like, and where do we play, and what impact does it have on our PGA Tour schedule? And I think that's something that we have focused on, and we don't take lightly.
We'll go to Rex and then Todd on the left.
Tiger, as far as the landscape goes, is there a path back to the PGA Tour for the players who join LIV? And if so, what would that look like?
As far as a pathway, we're still working on that. That's part of the deal we're working through, is trying to find a path, whatever that looks like. There's so many different scenarios. That's why I said there's a lot of sleepless hours trying to figure that out, and there's a lot of participation of the players, and then what does that look like?
Todd?
Tiger, what are the emotions that drove you to be on the policy board?
Well, I think the overall emotion is, I think what I answered with Rex earlier, is that we can't let that happen again. And how do we do that? Well, is having 6 player directors. And so we control the board, and we control what we're going to do. We're not going to have what transpired in a few months without our involvement again. Yes.
Bob?
Tiger, the new company, I guess PGA Tour Enterprises, what's being discussed is significant sums of investment, no matter where it's coming from, whether it's PIF or private equity, what have you. Do you have an opinion on what you would like to see that become? Like, what would they be investing in that would obviously have to be pretty big to get the kind of return that we're talking about?
Yeah, everyone involved wants a return, and that's just part of doing deals. But we have to protect the integrity of our tour and what that looks like, and what that stands for going forward. And that is trying to figure all that out. And the past few months has been a very difficult task. But yes, there are a lot of different options, a lot of different a lot of different parts that are moving, trying to get a deal done, whether it's from all different types of money, what that looks like. But we have to protect what the tour is and the integrity of that and the players.
Were you at all disappointed that Roy decided to move off the board? I'm sure you understand why, but
I totally understand why Rory made that decision. We put a lot of effort and time into the Delaware meeting and getting everyone aligned for that, and going from there. And the next couple of years of just the involvement or the conflict within golf And then his participation at the highest level, he was in contention on almost every tournament he played in. And he was the spokesman at the same time. So that was very difficult on him personally, and I totally understand it.
Steve and then Paul.
Is there a part of your game that you're more curious about, and how much golf have you played coming into there?
Well, I've played a lot of holes, but I haven't haven't used a pencil on a scorecard. Okay, so now when you put a pencil to paper and it really counts, it's a little bit different story. And so I'm very curious about that as well.
Paul, second row.
Obviously, getting the ankle surgery was a quality of life thing for you, but what motivated the golf side to continue and push yourself to continue to play?
I love competing. I love playing. I miss being out here with the guys. I miss the camaraderie and the fraternity like atmosphere out here, and the overall banter. But what drives me is I love to compete. There will come a point in time, I haven't come around to it fully yet, that I won't be able to win again. When that day comes, and I'll walk. But now I can walk. I won't say run away, but I'm gonna walk away.
So you being here assumes you think you can still win out here?
Absolutely.
We're going to go to Martin on the right over here.
Tiger, you've obviously got a lot on your plate with other matters at the moment, but the Ryder Cup, your name's obviously been mentioned as a possible captain for 2025. What are your thoughts on that at the moment?
Right now, there's too much at stake with our tour to think about a Ryder Cup right now. We have to get this done, and we have to be focused on this for right now. The Ryder Cup can take a beat. The players and everyone involved understand that this is an issue we need to focus on.
There was some noise about Patrick Cantley and the hat issue in Rome. What were your thoughts as a youngster in terms of being paid for the Ryder Cup, and have your thoughts ever changed in that respect?
Well, what transpired there is it was media. It was just noise, and then obviously the fact that everyone now carries a mobile device, and that was able to spread. And you're not on home soil, and so anytime someone they're going to try and get in your head, and that's what they tried to do. And I totally get it. The emotions, and we all want to win, and you have a home side and an opposing side. You're going to get heat, and that's what happened. Say again, I'm sorry. That wasn't an issue.
We're going to go to Dylan on the left over here.
Yeah, Tiger, you mentioned protecting the integrity of the tour and kind of what makes the tour. And I'm curious, like, now we're in this spot where you've sort of stripped it all back. Everything's potentially on the table. What is important about the PGA Tour? Like, what is the bedrock of what makes professional golf valuable?
Well, I think that's a great question, Dylan. What we have to do is we have to make sure that we have access to the game. I had access to the game. I had an ability to get on tour. We had to ensure that and have ensure that we protect our schedule, as I talked about earlier, and our tour, and take care of the players. And without the players, there is no tour. And so how do we take care of them in a better way, not just financially? Obviously, everyone wants to get paid, but also how do we have the best competitive atmosphere and competitive events from week to week to week? And what does that look like? And what does it look like for the players to have to be involved in that? And what do they have to give up to have that? And what are, like Bob was mentioning earlier, what investors are looking for to invest in our tour?
We got one on the aisle here, standing up.
Hi, Tiger. You have a good relationship with Rafa Nadal, who is trying to come back in 2024. You did it before, and you are trying to do again. But how do you describe the process for an athlete like Rafa or you, who have win everything and keep the same motivation as ever and trying to get it again?
Well, I think what he's done is extraordinary. I mean, he won the Australian Open on a broken foot. I mean, the guy's beyond tough and beyond competitive, and he knows that father time is here. Every athlete faces it, and although some sports it happens faster than others, and unfortunately, just like every sport, you get aged out. And I don't want to see him go. I never want to see Fed go. But that's just what happens. I just think we should all enjoy watching him compete and watch him play and what he's meant to the game. And when it's meant to all of us, just to see the passion and how he plays and why he plays.
Got time for a couple more, Dave?
Yeah, just curious. Bob mentioned the investment aspect. How important is it that PIF is involved, or does it really matter if PIF is involved or not in the ultimate, I guess, scheme of what's going on?
Well, I think that we're looking at all options and trying to figure out what is the best deal for the players. And that there's a lot of moving parts to that, as I was trying to describe earlier.
Mark asked about Jay. Ultimately, do you have faith in Jay and what he can bring and what he can still do?
Yeah, that was part of why I came onto the board, is that I did have faith in Jay and what he could do going forward, and what can't happen again.
All right, we'll finish up with Mark and then Todd.
Tiger, are you confident a deal gets done with somebody or some entities by December 31st?
I am confident that a deal will get done in some way, whether that comes December 31st or is pushed back. Where all sides understand are working together. Okay, so there are no lawsuits. Everyone's understanding what that looks like, and we're all progressing going forward. And everyone's working right now with no animosity. We're trying to work to try and get a deal done for the tour and for all parties involved.
Todd?
Hey, Tiger, I want to follow up. You said you were the frustration was a motivation for you to be on the policy board. Was the frustration that about the leadership with Jay and Ed Hurley and Jimmy Dunn, that they forged this agreement without input from the players, or were you just frustrated that the deal actually happened, the framework agreement?
Well, I was frustrated at the fact that the players were never involved, and this is our tour, and as I was saying earlier to Rex, is that we were all taken back by it, and it happened so quickly without any of our involvement. No one knew, and that can't happen again.
All right, Tiger and Dr. Munjal, thank you very much.
Thank
for
you,
your
everyone.
time. Greg.